I work in a pizza delivery service. Nobody dreams of such a job, but over time you will understand why this is the perfect cover for my hobby. Oh, come on, as if I need to explain what kind of hobby this could be. Come on, 3 guesses. The first two don't count. Yes, I'm a serial killer. Most of my deliveries are for families with 2 working parents or single mother-father. Life is a struggle for them. Everyone knows that. You might think that my goal is to save them from suffering, but you are wrong. No, I don't want to kill families. I just like getting rid of the useless stuff. Right. Fat men who live off their mother's unemployment benefits. Homebodies who can't get beyond their front door. Lazy pieces of meat, pathetic whiners who contribute nothing to society. I'm just thinning the herd. I'm helping others get rid of ignorance. And the best thing about this is that I get the address for free and no one even knows. I'm just a poor little boy who delivers pizza. What motive could I have? If only they knew. The guy who has a delivery scheduled for today orders regularly. I didn't kill him just for the tip, but enough is enough. He deserves the sweet salvation that is death. I smile, clutching the knife behind my back as he opens the door. My blade rushes towards him before he can take the pizza, and a moment later the knife cuts his throat. I'm waiting for his blood to be smeared on the sidewalk, only he doesn't fall. His throat isn't bleeding. He just stands there, looking at me, laughing. I drop the knife, confused, as he says, "I like my food to deliver itself," before biting into my neck. Had a stupid one tonight, but the store kinda got revenge. I had a delivery to the anus end of my franchise's delivery area. You know how it is. We only deliver so far before they have to call a different store. The address was like a 12-minute drive to a small community off the furthest street we go to. No problem, pre-tip is like $8, so I'm down. I get out there, and the customer-provided gate code doesn't work. I call him, and he swears he typed the gate code correctly. We, eventually, work out that even though the ticket says 9200 Street, he meant 1900 Street, which is way out of our area. Then he asks me if I can deliver it anyway and what I can bring him for the inconvenience of getting it to the wrong place. Now, first of all, I can't bring him anything even if I want to because I've already left the store. Second, that's way outside our area. And third, he had ordered online and typed the wrong address himself, brought it back to the store as per policy. The MOD laughed it off and let the employees eat his food. About 20 minutes later, he called my phone. I hate having to use my own phone for these, but that's a separate complaint, and demanded to know where his food was. It felt pretty good to give him the right store phone number and politely inform him that there would be no refund because he'd entered the address himself and had like 3 chances to check it before we cooked it. When I am the president, there will be a constitutional amendment that you must have worked as a delivery driver for at least a month before you can use the service. In fact, this goes for working retail too. This happened several years ago, and I won't go into a ton of detail because Google exists and I don't want to point a bit arrow to where it happened by saying too much. I had worked at a big pizza chain for almost a year at this point, so I was aware of a lot of the dangers of the job. Robberies, drunken morons, naked people, etc. But this instance really made it sink in. A girl had been reported missing in our area under super suspicious circumstances. It was a big deal in a relatively small town where things like that don't happen super frequently. It was all over the news, billboards were being put up, the whole shebang. We had state cops, other county cops, and federal investigators all in town to help. A few weeks after the initial report, they announce an arrest. They had the guy dead to rights, no question that he was the one who did it. When I got to work that day, someone asked me if I had seen the announcement. I hadn't yet, so I pulled up the news article on my phone. Holy shit. I know that name. I know that address. I know that face. A month or so prior, I had delivered to this guy. His apartment complex was a few blocks down the road. To add to the creep factor, this dude lived in a complex with several buildings where each one had a locked door to get into the building. It's full of young kids that are almost always drunk and ignorant when they order, and I'd had issues there before. Due to that, I made a point to always have customers come and meet me at the main door as opposed to being buzzed in and going to their unit door. Usually it wasn't a huge deal, but this dude really tried to press the issue and had several excuses to why he couldn't come down and I needed to come up. Each one was met with, "Company policy doesn't allow me to do that," until he finally caved and came down. He was less than enthused, but paid for his pizza and I went about my way. As a female, and given that this happened within a few weeks of him kidnapping and killing the other girl, I am so immensely grateful for all the drunken morons that caused me to stop going inside of the buildings at this complex. I deliver in a very diverse area, so I see a lot. Our delivery area covers a affluent McMansion community, the bad side of town, and even a rural area full of hicks and wineries. I have some stories. People too high to remember they ordered and leaving to a friend's house or forgetting that I'm at the door waiting for them to find their money is my favorite. Sarcasm. But this one annoyed me in particular. I was doing one of the last deliveries of the night right before closing, so it's late and I've been running pizzas for 8 hours without a break, so I'm starving and tired too. The address on the ticket is weird. It's 733 Rich People Street, number 733. And I'm like, okay, sometimes people are dumb or their autofill puts weird things in for the app number. The directions mention a gate code, which is not weird. There's at least a dozen gated communities on her street. But it also says third floor building 7 all the way in the back, which is weird. I pull up to 733 and it's just a normal SS McMansion. And so I call the number and I'm like, "Hey, I have a feeling this isn't your place. Can you confirm the address?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry. When I put the address in, it changed it to that. It's actually 1080. And I'm like, "Okay, no problem. I'll be there in a few minutes." So I drive down the street to this really nice apartment complex, and there's no stupid box on the gate. Most of the nice ones around here have swipe cards or clickers, and the residents don't realize their gate code is like for the pool or something and is useless to get in. So I wait for a car to come out and then go in and locate Building 7 pretty fast and climb 3 flights of stairs and knock on the door, and she's really nice and apologizes for giving me the wrong address and tells her kid who is running around naked except a pull-up to go get her the money she left in the bedroom. So this naked ES kid comes running up to me and stuffs a bunch of dollars into my hands while asking me my name, and I'm about to ask if the woman needs change when her daughter spills a bunch of coins into my hands and I know she most definitely does not need change. I give her the pizza and head out and double count the money just to be sure, because every now and again I'll get a couple extra bucks, even with the change, but sure enough, she's given me exactly what she owed and not a penny more. Till Dr. Customer gave me the wrong address, made me climb 3 flights of stairs 10 minutes before closing, and had her naked child give me exact change, no tip. This happened this past week. We got a last-minute delivery for a not-so-great area notorious for not tipping, and I got stuck with it. The guy had already ordered once that day, and he'd paid with a card the first time, no tip. This time was cash. For this delivery, his total came out to be $20.20. When he opened the door, I made a joke about seeing him so much, and then he handed over 2 $10 bills. He said that was all he had, but he'd get me next time, citing the coin shortage as an excuse to not have any change. I've had several people lately cite the coin shortage as an excuse to not pay the last few cents, and I told him the same thing I told them. I need the last 20 cents. I might have let it slide if he was nice about it, but like most people like this, the guy was rude and was acting like my showing up with his food was a major inconvenience. So you're telling me I've got to go all the way back in my house for 20 cents? Yep. I crossed my arms and stared him down, and eventually he gave in. He went inside and came back about a minute later with a handful of change. I counted it up and it turned out to be 16 cents. That's all I've got, for real this time. At this point, I was more than a little annoyed, and I was through with this bastard. So, again, I told him I needed the exact total. I stared him down again for another 30 seconds before he finally pulled a dollar bill out of his pocket. Oh, I forgot I had this in here. Sure you did, pal. So he handed over the bill and I gave him back the coins. Then he got greedy. Where's my 80 cents? He demanded. I passed over the pizza and told him, sorry, but I don't have any coins to make change. Coin shortage, you know? Well, ain't you got nickels? Nobody uses nickels. Go get me some. I was not about to go back to the store and come back with 80 cents worth of nickels after the crap he'd already pulled, especially since the store was already closed. I told him no, and he slammed the door in my face. You can't make this shit up. TLDR guy tried to short me 20 cents and went out of his way to try and keep me from getting it. Then he had the nerve to demand I get him his change in all nickels. The story of the owner of a pizzeria and her adventures when she was pursued by strange random guys who are not even customers. So usually, I, 28F, don't get picked on very often. I'll find a sweetheart, baby. Can I get your number? And oh, how you wish I'd tipped the little lady. But luckily, for those who work in finger-length shorts, for the most part, people leave me at rest. Today, for the first time, I met a guy across the street from the delivery place who said, "Yeah, this is the stuff about the soon-to-be ex-wife." I ignored him, but the guy who came home to the house next door to where I was said, "Yeah, that's not how you pick up women, is it?" No, that's not true. Thanks to the neighbor, man, for keeping this real. It's always nice to have other people around who really understand when things like this happen. It adds a little more of a feeling of safety. So it was cool. The second meeting was not so cool. It's about 12:30 at night, not the worst part of the area, not as many drug addicts as other parts of town I deliver to, and it's close to the main road, so that was the main reason I managed to keep my cool. I pull up to the house, get out, and literally as soon as I knock on the door, this damn guy pulls up on his bike on the sidewalk behind me and starts his shit. I mostly didn't pay attention to what he was saying, but I remember him saying, "Yes, Mom, that's what I'm talking about. You look good today. Do you need me to come and knock on the door for you?" I said, "Ah ha ha ha, thank you, and no thank you, sir, I have it." Why the hell did I say thank you? That was fucking stupid. Why be polite to this random degenerate who comes at me shirtless while I'm trying to do my job? Now he will think that I want to continue this meeting, and that is exactly what happened. And to top it all off, the client still hasn't answered the door, so I call him. While I'm calling, this guy is still talking to me from his bike. I have no idea what he was saying because luckily the customer answered and said he was leaving. Another minute or so goes by and a bunch of cops start racing down the main road and the guy on the bike goes quiet for a minute, just standing there with his bike and looking at me. The customer still doesn't come to the door, at which point I'm starting to get angry because my taser is in the car, and if this biker dude, who is a decent amount bigger than me, attacks me, I won't make it in time. The police finish passing after a minute, and there was silence. Dude says, "Yeah, I really like your tattoos. You're 20 feet away from me and it's dark outside, dude. You can't see my damn tattoos. Then he finally says, yeah, I was thinking about asking you for your phone number before. For a split second, I thought, does he mean like at the beginning of this hostage encounter I found myself in? Or did this dude watch me deliver around the neighborhood? Before I turned to him and say, okay, man, I'm gonna have to tell you to go fuck yourself, to which he throws up his hands, laughs, says, okay, peace and love, and drives off. Of course, damn it, as soon as he does this, the client will finally open the door, completely oblivious to the entire meeting. I practically run back to my car and run out of there, and I see a dude dragging SS on his bike a couple streets down. I don't know why I'm still obsessed with how he said he wanted to ask for my number earlier because I still have 4 whole nights of work, and now I think some shirtless psycho is stalking me in his bike, but I'm sure it's really nothing. I will still carry a stun gun in my pocket just in case. TLDR. This evening I was making a delivery and got a call from a cat from across the street. Then in the middle of the night, a guy on a bike kept pestering me in front of a client's house until I told him to fuck off. I've been a pizza delivery driver for several years, and today is the first day I legitimately feel ashamed of doing what I do. This story may not seem to be a huge deal to some people, since it's probably more of me being socially inept when it comes to a big audience and being recorded and not being comfortable with my singing voice. So I may be overreacting, but I can't shake this feeling of humiliation. Since I was a kid, I've always been pretty shy. Even amongst close friends, I'm somewhat quiet, and I am absolutely terrible speaking in front of large crowds. I remember in high school having nightmares for weeks about having to do an upcoming presentation, and I would be dreading doing it every day until the day of. Not only that, but I'm a terrible singer, and I know it. I don't even feel comfortable singing in front of friends and family. Which brings me to the actual story. I had a delivery today with a note written in the special instructions section that said, "Sing a Christmas carol for a tip." I didn't really take it all that seriously and figured they were just joking, and if they weren't, I thought of a corny line to say while driving there to hopefully satisfy them if they were serious. So I show up and it's some kind of small party going on. There's probably roughly 10-15 teenagers gathered around in the living room, and the mom comes to the door and takes the pizzas. There were 6 large, as I give her the receipt to sign. She then looks at me with a smile and goes, "So did they tell you?" Me. Ha ha ha. Oh, the note? Yeah, I saw that. But trust me, you don't want to hear me sing. Her. Oh, come on, you have to. She then ushers me inside and closes the door behind me. All of the people there are watching me and already have their phones out recording me. I instantly get uncomfortable and want to leave as quickly as possible. An audience is one thing, but being recorded by multiple people will instantly make me feel anxious. Her. Well, go on, sing. Me. No, really. I'm a terrible singer. I'm sure I will ruin your Christmas. Christmas is still several weeks away. I have no idea why they wanted a Christmas carol so bad. Her. Oh, come on. I'll make it worth your while, she said, as she waved a 20 and a 5 in front of me. I continued to insist on being a terrible singer and not being comfortable with it, but she kept pushing. Eventually, I decided to try my corny line and hoped it would satisfy them. So I just said, "Okay, how about rub-a-dub-dub, I brought you some grub," which was corny as fuck and holy hell so cringy to say and made me feel infinitely more uncomfortable. Obviously, no one laughed, and she went, "No, it has to be a Christmas carol." I insisted more about not wanting to sing and was starting to get seriously pissed off and uncomfortable that she wasn't taking no for an answer, and she kept waving the money in front of my face to encourage me. So finally I just said, "Look, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sing for money." She looked at me incredulously for a second and went, "Wow, it was only for fun, you know." "Well, you're definitely not getting this then," she said as she pulled the 20 away and only gave me the 5 and the receipt she had signed. I said thank you and quickly left, while I heard several comments behind me from everyone else like, "Wow, is he serious? What? Ugh, gross. UTF, this even means I have no idea." Disgusted she didn't hear A Christmas Carol, I guess. Wow, did he really have to make us feel so bad? So yeah, it's just being pressured to sing, which I guess should just be fun, but I've never felt so used and humiliated while working here. I legitimately feel ashamed to be working a minimum wage job now and truly feel like I'm on the lowest rung of the ladder in society. I was just a tool for their entertainment that they thought would jump at the chance to make a fool of myself for an extra $20. I'm a pizza delivery driver, not a stupid performer.